Today's review is going to be on AC3, the Kidnapping of Princess Arelina. The AC in AC3 actually stands for Accessory Module. This adventure was actually designed to showpiece this set of things called 3D Dragon Tiles, which actually just ended up being a series of cardboard inserts in the module, which you cut out and put together and used as like terrain and scenery and the miniatures themselves. They actually look kind of cool, but getting a hold of this actual module with all of those items still inside of it is going to set you back at least $100 US. This adventure was designed by Gary Spiegel back in 1984, and the adventure is almost like an afterthought to the actual 3D Dragon Tiles, but it's got all the basics there. It's got a quest, it's got a reward, and it's got the maps and everything else inside of here, along with descriptive text. There's only 17 separate areas that it's actually covered in this module. The entire adventure takes place inside of one single building. The building itself is called the House of Towers, and the reason why it's called the House of Towers is because it has two towers protruding out of it. Now, the history of the towers, no one knows. There's no backstory about this. The only thing that the players have to work off of is the king has offered a 50,000 gold piece reward and a war horse to each member of any party that rescues the princess by nightfall. The princess herself is the youngest daughter of a King Limerick, and the king's royal guardsmen pursued the kidnappers to the gates of a house bounded by two dark towers. However, the king does not want his guardsmen to go inside the building. Instead, he wants to hire mercenaries to rescue his daughter that way. Don't think into it too much. It'll probably hurt your brain. It doesn't really make much sense to not have your royal guardsmen to rescue him, but so be it. The adventure is designed for a group of 4 to 8 characters between the 2nd and 5th levels of experience. However, all of the pre-generated PCs, including in the book, are 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and most of those pre-generated characters are actually 4th level. The module also recommends that if your players should decide to use their own PCs, they should include at least 2 clerics. Now, once the players actually make entry into the House of Towers, they'll find that it actually consists of a main level and a cellar. Now, the 2 towers are also there, but there's nothing really much inside those ones. In fact, if the players actually end up going up the stairs of the towers to the top level, they'll find nothing but bricked up windows that they can actually look outside, and they'll see that there's still guardsmen trying to surround the building. When describing the house, I would actually describe it more as like a fortified manor. Now, as the players continue adventuring through it, they'll find a variety of different types of monsters inhabiting this manor. You got a bunch of ghouls, you got a bunch of were-rats. They may have problems with the were-rats, seeing as how they can only be harmed by silver magical weapons. But the module does cover that by actually having some enchanted silver weapons found within the manor itself, just in case your players don't have any, though they should at this point. You got giant rats and some giant spiders. Nothing real interesting there. There's a rust monster and some skeletons. The biggest danger out of all these creatures is going to be the were-rats themselves. Those ones may cause some difficulty for a party, seeing as how they can have... They're all 3 hit die monsters that are immune to normal weapons. The ghouls may also be a surprise. It has a few rooms inside here that actually has them pop out at you from the inside of couches and chairs. The rust monster is actually going to be the highest hit die monster in this module, with a massive amount of 5 hit dice. Oh, and of course, obviously, they also eat your armor and weapons if they're made out of metal. There's a few magical items inside this one. You got there's 2 magical swords that are +1 that are also silvered. You have some health potions. There is a couple magical rings. Point on these magical rings. The rings will actually be found on the wrapped up corpses found within a wall. It's actually 2 dead figures. It's going to be a male and a female. I would probably suggest that this is probably the original owners of the manor. They're found in a hallway, and their corpses are actually in alcoves behind secret doors. The woman, she's wearing a gold ring that is a ring of protection +1, while the guy is wearing a ring that gives its wearer the ability to fly once per day for 1d6 turns. It is cursed, however. For the ring to work, the wearer must shout and scream as long as he is flying. The ring's powers are not affected by what the wearer shouts, however. So he can shout about whatever he wants to, or scream, whatever he wants to do. There's a few spell scrolls in here too, and a single vial of holy water found in a bathtub on the bottom of a bathtub underneath some brackish water. Now, once the players finally make it down into the cellars, that's where they'll finally run into the actual kidnappers. There's only 3 of them, a Jahat and a Jalek. Now, Jahat and Jalek are only fighters. Jahat is a 3rd level fighter, while Jalek is a 4th level fighter. Now, when they make it into the cellars, these 2 will actually try and trap them into one of the tunnels they have to crawl through. Eventually, once they get through there, if both of them are still alive, when they make their way into the prison cells, they will start firing crossbow bolts at them. In which case, I'd probably have them continue to retreat backwards if the party continued moving forward. Eventually, they will find the room where the evil Rusak, a 4th level magic user, is holding the princess hostage. Now, when they finally have this fight, this is where there's no retreating anymore for the bad guys. This is going to be a straight-on fight. There's no hiding for them anymore. They'll fight to the end here. This is where the party's going to have to be careful. Now, Rusak and the other 2 will continue to threaten to harm the princess. However, the book says they'll never actually do so. So the only way that the princess should be harmed is if you have a less than careful magic user of the sort or anything similar to that decide they want to do an area of effect spell inside there. Defeating these 3 will actually end the adventure, and that's it. That's the complete end of it. That's the entire thing right there. I have some suggestions on making this a more well-rounded and complete adventure. First thing you got to do is, why did Rusak kidnap the princess? There's got to be a reason. It's not just like he just decided to go over to a kingdom and be chased by royal guardsmen for no reason. I would suggest something like her blood is actually the key to opening some sort of magical artifact, or she's supposed to get married to somebody and form an alliance, and Rusak or whoever Rusak was hired by doesn't want that to succeed. Now, with a little bit of creativity, you can come up with your own reason that fits into your setting. It's not set for any setting. It can be placed anywhere. It's an extremely generic go rescue the princess adventure. The second thing is the guardsmen. Why aren't the guardsmen going into the manor? I came up with the idea that maybe it's not as many guardsmen as is alluded to inside the book. Maybe it's only 4 of them, and they don't want to send anybody in there on the off chance that they won't be able to keep the building still surrounded. So that's why the adventurers are called in. Now, obviously, this means that the guardsmen would have had to have chased them for a few days and be very far from their base. Otherwise, they could just ask for some reinforcements and take care of it that way. Third, the reward. It's way too much. At 50,000 gold pieces, way too much gold. Like I said earlier, just cut that in half. Make it about 25,000. And the next thing is, what is going on with this manor? What's the deal with it? Why is it just hanging out here in the middle of nowhere for this guy to retreat into? You could make it into anything such as like a chaotic wizard's hideout where he was trying to learn lichdom. However, it didn't really work out, so halfway through, the spell didn't complete and him and his apprentice both died. That would explain for the dead corpses found on the wall. That would explain for all the undead found within it. And that may even explain for the were-rats. Maybe there were experiments or a family line that the necromancers have been taking care of. This entire adventure is going to take a little bit of work on the DM to fit it directly into their world, if it's part of an ongoing campaign. This adventure is perfect for just somebody that wants to sit down and not really think of the reason why they're there. They just want to roll some dice, have some adventures, and have some adventurers die horribly. They're not that bad in this adventure, but this obviously was not the primary product of this they I'm going to rate the adventure a 2 out of 5, mainly because it's extremely generic. I mean, they came up with the dragon tiles first, designed the adventure around what's on the dragon tiles. It's still useful. I mean, I'm not hating on it or anything like that. I still plan on using this one day, fitting it into an adventure somewhere, because you can just port it in somewhere easily enough. It's even got a sequel that I'll go over another day. The Revenge of Rusak. He apparently survived, so if you want to throw that into the adventure somehow, it may end up working out for you in the future. The value is also going to be a 2 out of 5. You can get it for about $5, the PDF off of DM's Guild, but trying to buy an actual physical copy is going to set you back at least $100. So it's not really worth it. Now, Death Factor. Death Factor, I'll give it a 3 out of 5, just for the singular reason of the were-rats. The were-rats can make this adventure a little bit deadlier for a party that's not prepared for them. However, one that is prepared for them will not find it that difficult. Altogether, I would say this rates a 2 out of 5. It's not the worst thing I've seen, but definitely could have been better. But I see where TSR was coming with this one. The module was not the selling point, and they acknowledged that by making this part of the accessory modules, not an actual adventure module. It's not one of the B or X or C, M, or I series. The rest of the AC series consists of player character sheets, Marvelous Magic, the Shady Dragon Inn. That's what the rest of the AC series is. It's not adventures, it's just accessories for the game. So keeping that in mind, that the actual item being sold in this book at the time was the Dragon Tiles, not the adventure. Yeah, I guess it works out. Well, that's gonna be it for today. A really short module that I wanted to cover real quick. I'll go over the sequel, Revenge of Rusak, in the future. I hope this helps somebody out there. I know I had not seen any other review videos on it, and if you actually go onto the DM's Guild, there's not that many reviews there either. So I thought I'd talk about it and just get it out there. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.